0347 local time on June 26, 2025, a Russian S-400 radar dish sweeps the dark Crimean sky with enough focused electromagnetic energy to microwave a frozen dinner at 10 kilometers. The operators inside the command vehicle are confident, believing their bubble of airspace is impenetrable, but they are completely unaware that a clock has already started ticking down on their survival. In exactly 15 minutes, 17 Ukrainian drones will turn that sophisticated radar array and the entire S-400 battery into a $500 million heap of burning scrap metal. The lead Beaver drone you see here has been airborne for over 2 hours at this point, burning through fuel at a rate of roughly 12 liters per hour. At current consumption rates, the onboard computer calculates it has 19 minutes to locate the target, 2 minutes to execute the terminal dive, and less than 2 minutes of reserve in case it misses the first pass. The mathematics of this mission are brutally tight, and the margin for error is effectively zero. The formation spreads across a 3-kilometer wide front while maintaining an altitude of exactly 50 meters. At this specific height, the curvature of the Earth creates a radar horizon of roughly 25 kilometers, a fundamental geometric limitation that no amount of Russian engineering can overcome. It is the tactical equivalent of sneaking up behind a couch. As long as you stay low enough, the radar simply has no line of sight to detect you. The S-400's mighty radars can track ballistic missiles in the upper atmosphere, but they cannot see through dirt and terrain. Physics does not negotiate with military budgets. Behind the 7 Beaver drones, 10 AQ-400 Scythe units maintain their station. They look exactly like what they are: plywood boxes with wings, assembled in repurposed furniture factories by workers who used to build kitchen cabinets. Each Scythe costs a base price of roughly $15,000, with an additional $30,000 for the guidance systems. The return on investment for this strike package would make any Wall Street hedge fund manager salivate. 17 drones totaling roughly $425,000 are attacking a battery worth over $500 million. That is, of course, if they can make it to the target without being jammed. Navigation relies on triple redundancy because the Crimean Peninsula has been a GPS jamming nightmare since late 2022. Each drone carries a commercial GPS chip that costs about $12 on online marketplaces, backed up by industrial-grade accelerometers and gyroscopes that track every shift in velocity and direction. The third system is pure Ukrainian engineering cleverness: optical cameras comparing the live terrain below to stored satellite imagery. Russian electronic warfare units may be able to jam satellite frequencies, but they cannot jam eyeballs or optical sensors. At 0415, the swarm executes its pre-programmed dispersal pattern. 7 drones climb to 80 meters, still below most long-range radar coverage, but high enough for steep diving attacks. 5 drones maintain their altitude at 50 meters, while the remaining 5 drop to a dangerously low 30 meters above the ground. This creates what drone operators call a vertical spread, forcing the air defense crews to divide their attention across multiple altitude bands simultaneously. On the receiving end, the S-400 battery near Jankoy runs its standard overnight routine. The 92 N6E gravestone radar rotates once every 12 seconds, scanning for threats that theoretical doctrine says should not be there. The 91 N6E Big Bird radar searches deeper into the airspace, looking for high-altitude intruders. 4 launchers stand ready with 16 missiles in total. 2 Pantsir S-1 units provide close-in defense for the battery. The numbers on paper say this battery should be untouchable. The reality on the ground says 17 plywood drones are about to prove otherwise. At 0415 and 30 seconds, the operator inside the Pantsir vehicle stares at his radar display as it suddenly populates with 17 contacts at 32 kilometers out. His Pantsir S-1 battery is designed to engage about 3 simultaneous targets, maybe 4 if the cooling system is running perfectly and the computer does not overheat. You do not need to be a mathematics major to know that 17 targets divided by 2 Pantsir units is significantly more than 4 targets each, and that is assuming they can even lock onto them. The Pantsir's maximum engagement range is technically 20 kilometers, but its effective engagement envelope against small aircraft is closer to 15 kilometers. Against missiles, it drops to 10 kilometers, and against targets with radar cross-sections below 0.1 meters, the range shrinks to just 5 kilometers. These drones register at roughly 0.05 meters. The math says he needs to wait until they are inside 5 kilometers for any realistic chance of a hit. But here's the problem. 17 drones spread across a 3-kilometer front are approaching at 48 meters per second. The time from the 5-kilometer mark to impact is just 104 seconds. The Pantsir cannot fire its 57 E-6 missiles without reloading, and it takes roughly 5 minutes to reload the launch tubes. Time is not on their side. The targeting computer starts its engagement calculations, but the numbers look disastrous. Each engagement requires 2 seconds for target acquisition, 1 second to fire the missile, 6 to 8 seconds of flight time to the target, and about 2 seconds to assess the damage. This means the operator needs 11 to 13 seconds per drone under perfect laboratory conditions. 17 drones times 12 seconds equals 204 seconds of work. He has only 98 seconds before impact. It's like realizing your wife's birthday is today, and you have exactly 10 minutes to find a thoughtful gift, write a card, and come up with a believable excuse. Good luck with that. 20 kilometers to the north, the 91N6E Big Bird radar continues its rhythmic rotations, completely oblivious to the approaching swarm. This L-band monster can see 600 kilometers out and track 300 targets simultaneously. It can detect an object the size of a baseball at 100 kilometers, but its minimum altitude coverage is roughly 100 meters. The drones flying at 50 meters might as well be submarines for all the good that radar does. The S-400's launchers remain in standby mode. Each 5P-85TE 2 vehicle carries 4 missiles. The battery has 16 ready to fire. In theory, they could engage 16 targets simultaneously. In practice, they need the 92 N6E radars to provide precision targeting data. Without hard radar locks, those $1.5 million missiles are just expensive lawn decorations. At 0425, the geometry of the engagement gets significantly worse for the Russians. The drones adjust their course, spreading their formation out to 5 kilometers wide. Now they are approaching across a 90-degree arc. The Pantsir's turret can traverse at 45 degrees per second, but tracking multiple targets across that wide of an arc means constant slewing back and forth. Every time the turret slews, valuable seconds are lost. The other Pantsir unit, positioned 800 meters to the south, faces the exact same mathematical equation with the exact same grim result. Between them, they have 24 ready missiles plus 16 reloads against standard aircraft or attack helicopters. That is plenty of firepower. Against a coordinated drone swarm, they would need to hit with every single shot, and even then, they would run out of missiles before they ran out of targets. The irony is perfect. The radars can track objects in low Earth orbit. Its missiles can reach into the stratosphere to kill hypersonic threats. But against 17 drones built in a basement flying lower than treetop height, the battery might as well be defending itself with harsh language. At 0445 and just a few kilometers out, the Pantsir's targeting computer finally achieves a solid lock on drone number 1, then drone number 2. Then it stutters, trying to assign priority to 15 more targets. All the targets present identical thermal signatures, and all are boring in at 48 meters per second. The operators can hear the computer's cooling fan scream as it tries to solve 17 simultaneous engagement equations. The first 57 E-6 missile leaves the rails 12 seconds later, accelerating to Mach 3 in less than 2 seconds. Racing toward drone number 3, the computer has decided that the closest threats are already within the minimum engagement range. Flight time to target is 6.3 seconds. The proximity fuse searches for radar, returns large enough to trigger detonation. It finds nothing. The missile passes within 2 meters of the Beaver drone and continues harmlessly into the dawn sky. Seeing the problem, the operator overrides the computer and switches to manual optical targeting. His screen shows the drones clearly now, dark shapes silhouetted against the lightening sky. He selects a Scythe, which is larger and supposedly easier to hit. The second missile launches. This time the proximity fuse works, shredding the plywood drone with tungsten fragments. 1 down, 16 to go. The math remains relentless. Each successful engagement takes a minimum of 11 seconds. He has already burned 21 seconds. The lead drones are now at 2.8 kilometers. Time remaining is 52 seconds. Missiles remaining is 10. From Belbek Airfield, 85 kilometers to the northwest, 2 Sukhoi Su-35S fighters launch on full afterburner. The pilots received scramble orders 90 seconds ago after a patrol reported possible drone activity near critical infrastructure. At maximum thrust, they are burning 400 liters of fuel per minute, rocketing toward Jankoy at 1,900 kilometers per hour. Their flight time is 8 minutes. At this rate, they will arrive just in time to photograph the burning wreckage. The second pantsir joins the fight 10 seconds later. Its operator is firing in full automatic mode. The computer launches missiles as fast as the system mechanicals allow, which is one every 3 seconds. Tungsten fragments fill the air like lethal confetti. 2 more drones disappear in puffs of smoke and plastic debris, 14 remaining. But physics has entered the chat. The drones execute their final attack profiles. The high group begins diving attacks at 30-degree angles, increasing their closure rate to 65 meters per second. The low group drops to 20 meters, using terrain masking to break any remaining radar locks. The middle group maintains steady approaches, forcing defenders to choose between multiple threat vectors. Just after 0446, both pantsir units run dry. 24 missiles have been expended, 5 drones are destroyed, and 12 remain. Reload time is 5 minutes. Time to impact is 68 seconds. The operators switch to cannon mode, but everyone inside the vehicle knows the statistics. Trying to shoot these small drones down with cannons is like trying to hit a mosquito with a sniper rifle. The S-400 launchers finally receive authorization to engage, but it is no use without the 92 N6E radars to provide precision targeting data, leaving them firing blind into the chaotic morning air. The 48 N6E missiles launch away with a deafening roar. $3 million worth of desperation arcing into the sky on pillars of white smoke. These weapons are designed to hit high-performance aircraft at 200 kilometers, maneuvering at Mach 4. At a distance of 2 kilometers, they are useless against slow-moving drones, unable to arm their warheads or guide effectively in such a compressed timeline. Both missiles self-destruct safely in the upper atmosphere after failing to acquire targets, raining expensive debris over the surrounding fields. At 0447, the Russian operators know they are cooked. 12 drones are now inside 500 meters, approaching from 7 different vectors at 3 different altitudes. The defensive system simply cannot traverse fast enough to engage them all. The operators inside the command vehicles know exactly what is coming. They can see it on their screens, track it on their optical sensors, and even smell the ozone as the electronics push past their thermal limits. But they cannot stop it. The operators watch helplessly as 12 digital dots converge on the battery's vital systems, 2 heading for each 92 N6E radar, 2 for each 91 N6E, and 4 targeting the loaded launchers. The pantsir cannons traverse frantically, spraying 30mm rounds that miss by meters. But they will not do anything to stop the physics equation that is about to resolve itself. At exactly 0447, the first Beaver drone connects with the primary 92 N6E radar. Its 20-kilogram shaped charge turns $50 million of Russian engineering into a twisted work of modern art in less than a blink of an eye. The shaped charge you see detonating now performs exactly as the engineers designed it to. Ukrainian specialists calculated the optimal standoff distance, the precise cone angle, and the exact explosive composition required for this specific target. The copper liner, just 3 millimeters thick, inverts and stretches into a superheated jet moving at roughly Mach 23. It punches through the radar's protective housing, slices through the delicate waveguide assembly, and obliterates the transmitter modules before emerging on the other side. 37 seconds later, the backup 92 N6E takes a direct hit from drone number 7. This Beaver approached from the opposite direction, catching the radar mid-rotation and striking the antenna feed horn, the most vulnerable point in the entire system. The explosion travels down the waveguide like a directed energy weapon, frying every electronic component in sequence. The radar dish, 8 meters in diameter and weighing 3 tons, shears off its mount and crashes to the ground, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and silence. At 0448 and 22 seconds, 2 Scythe drones hit the northern Big Bird radars simultaneously. With 32-kilogram warheads, they do not need sophisticated shaped charges because pure explosive force does the job just fine. The first warhead cracks the radar's base structure, compromising the integrity of the entire mount. The second drone, arriving 7 seconds later, finds the weakened metal and tears the entire assembly apart with brute force. The 40-ton antenna array, designed to survive winds of 150 kilometers per hour, collapses like a house of cards under the shockwave. The battery is now completely blind at 0448 and 45 seconds. Scythe number 13 finds pay dirt on the 5P85TE2 launcher. 40 tons of sophisticated military hardware takes a direct hit just above missile tube number 3. The warhead punches through 20 millimeters of armor plate and detonates inside the magazine. The 48 N6E missile's solid propellant, which is stable under normal storage conditions, becomes violently unstable when exposed to the shock of a high-explosive detonation. It ignites instantly. Solid rocket propellant burns at roughly 2,800 degrees Celsius, turning the inside of the launcher into a blast furnace. The missile tube, designed to channel thrust downward during a controlled launch, now channels it upward and outward in every direction. The pressure spike hits 300 atmospheres in 0.3 seconds. The tube ruptures catastrophically. Burning propellant sprays across missile tubes 2 and 4, heating them to the point of auto-ignition. In 1.3 seconds, 1,200 kilograms of propellant converts 3 missiles worth $4.5 million into the world's most expensive fireworks show. At 0449 and 10 seconds, the last 3 Beaver drones converge on the southern Big Bird radar. 3 impacts, 3 detonations, and 1 inevitable result. The radar, already damaged by flying shrapnel from the burning launcher nearby, takes 60 kilograms of high explosives in rapid sequence. It does not just collapse, it effectively disintegrates. Fragments of the antenna array rain down across a 200-meter radius, embedding themselves in the soil like jagged steel seeds. At 0450 and 35 seconds, the Sukhoi Su-35S fighters finally arrive overhead. The flight leader's radar shows absolutely no returns for the S-400 battery that should be guiding him. The radars that would normally be painting the sky are now burning wreckage on the ground. Visual contact reveals the full scale of the catastrophe. 4 distinct fire sources are visible from altitude. Black smoke columns rise 500 meters into the morning air. Secondary explosions are still cooking off as ammunition stores detonate in the heat. The pilots circle once, confirming what their sensors already show. The S-400 battery that protected western Crimea for 3 years was completely destroyed in just over 3 minutes. 17 drones built in a basement, powered by lawnmower engines and guided by smartphone processors, have proven that in modern warfare, ingenuity is the great equalizer. The economic exchange rate of this engagement is staggering. A total Ukrainian investment of roughly $425,000 has just erased $500 million of Russian strategic assets. That is a return on investment of over 117,000%, a number that signals a fundamental shift in how wars are fought and won.